Amine. This guy, Amine, is a Portland native. Went to my high school.
Did not know that. Wow.
So there was a little Portland mix, a little Timberwolf mix. You know what's really interesting, just as an aside, is that the Portland Trailblazers and the Minnesota Timberwolves are almost like sister franchises. They do a lot of trades with one another. Flip Saunders and a bunch of different GMs in Portland. You could even go back to the Kevin Pritchard days when he was running things. They did a lot of things together. They've had some bad blood. Coaches who go from Portland sometimes end up in Minnesota and vice versa. So this Portland-Minnesota news back and forth was very interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure.
We have another Timberwolves segment, though.
Let's go. Wolves podcast.
This is a Wolves podcast now. I've been putting off talking about this franchise, like I said, because, one, they've won 7 games. So what are we really talking about? And they've been largely irrelevant in terms of news. And I've been asked to discuss them from a multiple amount of listener DMs, and I just had said no. No. But they just dominated the news this entire weekend, so let's do it. I want to get deep, Marty, for a second with you.
Okay.
We're living in 2 Americas.
Yes.
As it relates to the NBA. There are people who find joy in the individual and beautiful moments of the game because of what it means, not only for their soul, but for the culture, right? They take pleasure in a crossover or in a Kyrie or a Luka step back, right? Mm-hmm. That's what gets them going. Group chat type vibes. Twitter. Because basketball is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
They fell in love with the game because of those moments, right?
Yeah. Highlights are cool.
Highlights are cool. And then there are other people who look at basketball as a business. Wins, losses. How close are you to winning a championship? Stats, WAR, something called Raptor. I really don't know what it is. How close a team to net rating, dead cap space, storylines, etc., etc. When you break it down like that, it's basically like, are you an over person or are you an under person? Do you bet on the over or do you bet on the under? Do you love joy? Do you take pleasure in the game? Or is it all about how close you are to winning and breaking it down in terms of Excel spreadsheets? I understand both POVs. I kind of live somewhere in the gray of those 2 places.
Yeah, me too, I would say.
And the Timberwolves' Ant Edwards dunk on Friday night put a spotlight on this philosophical divide in basketball. This is where we are. Ant Edwards was the number 1 pick selected by the Timberwolves, and he's a rookie right now. Timberwolves are what? A perennial loser.
Yeah, probably the biggest one we have.
Probably the biggest one, and the biggest disappointment in terms of players that they could have drafted and then the players that they did draft.
Sure, yeah, when you're in that many lotteries, there's going to be a lot of misses. Yeah.
That's facts. That is facts. They could have drafted Steph Curry, and instead, I think they drafted Ricky Rubio.
And Johnny Flynn.
Yep, and Johnny Flynn. Timberwolves at this point, like I've said multiple times so far, have only 7 wins. They have a 22% winning percentage. So at this point, the Wolves on Friday night are playing the Raptors. The team that I told you was surging. The team that I told you, their offense is starting to gel. Mm-hmm. And they're up on the Raptors by 8. Woo! Let's go! And Ant Edwards posterizes this kid, Watanabe, going viral. Top in-game dunk in years. Just immediately broke the internet.
Yeah, it was a hammer.
Yeah. He put his nuts on Watanabe's face and put his hand on. He stiff-armed him and put his nuts in his face at the same time. The internet was ablaze. They were filled with enthusiasm and joy. Finally, something to be excited about as it relates to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Until a few Big J journalists and some Timberwolves fans decided to rain on the parade of everyone who was enjoying that moment. Nate Duncan, who I have ran into many times in the NBA media, is a cap analyst. Nate Duncan came in and actually'd Ant Edwards. Well, actually, I know you think this dunk is cool, but here's his stat line. Ant Edwards tonight with the dunk of the year. He also has 7 points on 3 for 14 shooting and 0 for 7 from 3. Fuck you, Nate Duncan. Fuck you.
And Danny.
And Danny, and whoever is shitting on Ant Edwards in his shining moment. Let that man live. Did you just, actually Ant Edwards, who put his nuts on Watanabe's face in a viral moment that we're probably going to be talking about 10 years from now? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And the internet was a ratio. Here's the number that tells you everything that you need to know. 4,500 quote tweets, 1,300 comments, and 15,000 likes. What does that tell you? People responded to that pretty strongly, didn't they?
They did.
That's the only stat that matters, and the numeric response shows you how polarized NBA Twitter is. There's this kid, Justin Tinsley, who works for the Undefeated, and he summed it up perfectly. He said, that Anthony Edwards stat line tweet really was a masterclass between seeing basketball as a culture and seeing basketball as an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those that, especially with young players, I really want to appreciate all the cool things they can do, because especially when you go to a team like that, there's not going to be a whole lot of winning nights. So, let's appreciate when guys do something cool. And just coming in and immediately expecting 19-year-olds to have, the most polished, advanced stat line is just ridiculous. So, yeah, I was thrilled to see the Anthony Edwards dunk, and I hope we see a lot more, and I don't really care what his stats are in that game.
Exactly. I don't think anybody really was worried about Allen Iverson's stat line when he broke Michael Jordan's ankles.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah, do we have any idea what his line was in that game?
Nope.
None.
Have no idea. But we're still talking about it, aren't we? This, Marty, is complicated. It's so complicated because the more you think about it, the more complicated it becomes. Why? Because Ant Edwards was the number 1 draft pick by the Timberwolves. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're the number 1 draft pick, for whatever reason, you're expected to not only produce right away, but you're expected to affect that team's winning percentage in a major way right away. That translates to wins and losses. You're going to get a ton of playing time, so you're going to be expected to make an impact. Is that expectation fair? No. But this is a business with billions of dollars on the line. And the Timberwolves have a history of drafting players in a lottery, like I said, that don't work out, over ones that become superstars. And storylines are what drives the NBA as a business. Do you think a dunk can get you 5-6 columns for the week? No. Is that fair? No. But the media is also a business to the tune of billions of dollars a year, where clicks and views are what matter. You can't squeeze a ton of juice out of that Anthony Edwards dunk, but what you can squeeze out is whether the Timberwolves made the right decision by drafting him when LaMelo Ball was right there. And the storyline is, here's a guy with a horrible stat line expected to produce right now, not now, but right now, and he told the world pre-draft, I'm not that interested in basketball. I like football. If the NFL drafted me, I would go there immediately. That's not good. With a bad team, who a bad team took a chance on over a sure thing in LaMelo Ball, and he had a great dunk. So if you're a Timberwolves fan or an NBA insider journalist, that's what you're going to think about, is all that context. It's a dirty game. Mm-hmm. It leads us to make assumptions, prognostications, say things that are a little early, like me. I say things that are a little early all the time because that's what you kind of have to do. You can't just wait and react, because what are you really doing?
That's really the only time the stat guys get to me, is when they just want to be so quick to shit on a young player. Give them some time. Mm-hmm. Give them some time to figure it out.
Nate Duncan is the no fun police. Mm-hmm. but he's been in the media a long time and he knows the game, and that's the game. So it's complicated, right? Because that's his job, but it's like, can you give us 15 seconds to enjoy this kid? Can we let this kid have his moment in the sun when there hasn't really been very many moments in the sun if you're a Timberwolf? I mean, that's it. Please let us enjoy something, anything, in the middle of a 2-year-long pandemic. Can we have something to be happy about? This pandemic has devastated the league, this country, our mental health. And I don't know, maybe it's just something about this climate that makes the juxtaposition between these two philosophies and these two mindsets so much easier for me to see. They cannot see, these people, these big J's, these no fun polices, they can't see Anthony Edwards by himself. He's not just a kid from Georgia who's the number 1 pick. All they can see is the list of other lottery players that didn't work out. All they see is the 7 wins that he's not helping them get any more. All they see is the bleak future of their franchise. I mean, this shit is sad, really. It's trauma. These fans have trauma.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
They cannot experience joy from a historically good dunk because it came from Ant Edwards. It could have been anyone else, and everyone would have been excited. But because it was Ant, who is expected to do all of these things for this perennial loser, and he is not, and they made a wrong decision in drafting him over another player like LaMelo, all they can see is the what ifs. And so it immediately diminishes this moment. He's the symbol to them of everything that's wrong with their favorite team. I mean, people, though, can we just say, wake up. This kid is 19, and he is nasty. That dunk was beyond nasty.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Let's just relish in something that we can talk about 20 years from now. Much like that AI cross on Jordan. By the way, the Sixers lost that game.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Nobody talks about that. Take those small victories, those moments of happiness, wherever you can get them. Laugh, exclaim, feel some joy. This is why we love the game of basketball. These moments, not because of war or Raptor or fucking stats. Don't let anything take the joy away from you in a game that we love, especially stats. This league.